Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
It's time to say good morning to our Greater Wellington Regional Rep, Penny Gaylor. Good morning, Penny.
Good morning. What a lovely sunny day, and I'm very excited not to have to be in a meeting today.
Yes, you've been busy at
be
meetings.
Out and about.
Yeah, that's right. You're meeting constituents today who want to have a little chat with you.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Nigel, you're actually cutting in and out there, but I did hear you had a question about a meeting with people. Just been in a catch-up with some people this morning already and just going into my next one.
Oh, right, okay. So they ring you up and say, hey, can we have a little chat about an item they want to discuss?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Good as gold.
I welcome it. So
Yeah.
I can, because I don't actually have a proper office like you don't when you're a councillor. So meet people in cafes is always pretty good, or I'm happy to come to people's homes if they don't mind the intrusion. But I'd probably love a cup of tea or a cup of coffee while I'm there. But so I've been to Relish in Waikanae this morning, and I'm now at Harrison's Garden Cafe. About to start our meeting.
Right. And
nice life for some.
Yeah. You say you met with Liz Keita. Are they been interested in let you know what they're doing for Greater Wellington Regional Rep?
Yes, well, I've already previously caught up about how they've sort of gathered themselves and got their little thinking hats on about a lot of things for our district. And of course what they've now done, yesterday they presented to KCDC at the hearings for their long-term plan, and they have also put a submission into Greater Wellington Regional Council's long-term plan because we had asked the question, what do people think about how we have structured economic development in our region? And so Liz and Greg were there talking to me this morning, just talking about some of their ideas that they've put together in their submission, and we have our hearings for our long-term plan next week, and we'll be doing Tuesday in Carterton because there are an awful lot of people from the Wairarapa who have made submissions, particularly about the flood protection policy review. So really want to hear from them. So really good that we're going over there because of a large number of submitters. And then Wednesday and Thursday, and if need be Friday, we'll be hearing submitters in Wellington, and yet to have the schedule of that, but looking to probably fill up all those days. Okay,
quite a few from Kapiti Coast speaking to their submissions.
Haven't had the schedule yet of because people can put in a written submission, and then they can indicate if they would like to come and speak to them, which as I was talking to Liz and Greg about that, they've indicated they're going to come in and speak to us in Wellington. So that's really good because it is about the power of persuasion.
Right.
So, every opportunity, don't just write your submission. If you've got something you want to get across the line, coming and speaking to it is always very powerful. And don't know all the details around how many people from Kapiti are going to be taking up that opportunity. So I'll be able to talk about that next week, about how many people are coming.
I should imagine the rating review will be the big one that you'll be discussing. I think it was a big one down here in Kapiti Coast, wasn't it, this week?
And that is the thing, these are draft plans, these are proposed things, factoring in everything people wanted, what we wanted to do, and now we test it with the community. And of course, interesting that we're having this conversation on the day of the government's budget. And of course, government doesn't operate like that. Local government does. So this is the perfect sort of participatory democracy, people. You can, have your chance. You actually can have your say on it. At least have your say. I know that not everybody always ends up winning their debate, but having your say is really important and a great opportunity when there are very few opportunities like that in our society. I actually got the box of submissions, arrived at home last night. It was very dark and there was a bang on the door. I thought, oh my goodness, what is that? And this box arrived. So I tried to put them on the scales this morning, but the scales wouldn't kind of play ball with me. But I estimate probably about 7 kgs worth.
So you got to read all those before next week?
Yeah.
Best of luck. Yeah.
That's okay. No, a lot of them, I flicked through, there are 3 different volumes. The top volume was so maybe a 1.5, 2 inches thick of the submissions regarding the policy review for flood protection and public transport. So just as I kind of, did that flick thing you can do with a Bible, I see that a lot of them are forms that people have kind of ticked here and there. So that's obviously going to be a quicker read, but just going through page by page, working through where they've ticked and any kind of comments that often people can tick, but they'll add a comment. So it's just good to read those comments just to get in your head what people are arguing in terms of what their rationale is behind their thinking. So
I should imagine no techie people have got. Yeah, I should imagine no techie people have got submissions in about their transport systems, have they?
Well, I hope so.
KCDC, I think they're putting in some submissions too and going to speak to it, aren't they? I think the mayor's going down for that. Is that right?
Yes. Absolutely. So I had a catch up with Guru and some staff members the other day, just walking through the submission that they've put in. So this is great. I have to say, I think it's a very meaty submission, and this is good. And also we've managed to get them some extra time speaking to these submissions. So I pitched to Regional Council that really there are two parts to the submission from KCDC, in part because of the policy review, and that's a separate consultation it should be considered as, and then separately from that, their submission to the long-term plan. So we've essentially scored double time, so that's good.
Now, are you expecting any financial assistance from the budget today to help local government at all?
Well, I think there won't be the kind of the fine granular kind of this is what this money is for, and I was just thinking about that. First up, we'll be wanting to see how much more money they're putting into public transport, so those sort of the areas of our interest, any kind of extra funding that they might be putting into environmental activities that will then deliver through to us. Any funding that, particularly like for the Ministry for the Environment, agencies that we particularly deal with that we need more sort of assistance from, or that we need those sort of agencies to kind of gear up and be able to deliver some of these national standard policies to actually help and support some of the work that local government needs to be doing. So, yeah, I'm very much interested to see what gets said in the budget today around particular areas of interest, and particularly that how big's the bucket going to be for public transport. We can't expect that today they're going to make any announcement on, for example, the new trains to replace the Capital Connection. But today's big indication will be from what we see as the actual dollar figures that have been set aside to deliver bigger public transport projects.
So that might include extension from Waikanae to Otaki, as we've been pushing for a long time, might it?
Well, I don't expect that. Like I say, they won't. I don't see that they'll be announcing particular projects like that today.
Right,
it'll be
just
about
putting money into the pot.
Here is the bucket.
Yes.
The bucket for this part of transport has increased, would be what I'd love to see. And of course, what we're doing from the Wellington region, we're coordinating and putting in a pitch into Treasury that says we would like to have all these things for public transport in the Wellington region, and then you can sort of say, well, look, you've just in your budget announced that you're now having this level of investment into public transport. This is how we need it to be spent in the Wellington region.
Okay. And you might have to have a little bit more money for your bus drivers. I see they're going for greater pay rise, and they say they're not being well protected, their jobs, wages or conditions. So I suppose that's another argument that you've got to have.
Yes, well, that's, the actual independent providers in that, they essentially talk to the company that they work for, and whether they're in a union or not in a union, that's all part of their negotiation. The contract that Regional Council has with those individual companies does not specify, and that's determined by the current legislation, and with a new government, I wonder if, and perhaps hope for, that there will be a shift in that legislation what they call the PTOM legislation, the public transport legislation that managed or oversaw or kind of measured and controlled what kind of tendering and contracts you have in public transport. So currently the legislation didn't have any requirements about the employment and the wages of drivers. So it would be good in the future to have that there. So yes, we could have better security for existing salaries and wages for drivers as they move to new organisations.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right then, Penny. Well, we'll let you get on with your chats with your constituents, and we'll have a chat next week.
Lovely, and I can give you a better heads up about who from Kapiti has been coming in.
Yes, that'll be lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Penny Gaylor, our Greater Wellington Regional Rep.
106.3 Beach FM.